Good evening, dear students. I am Dr. Talochan Kaur Sandhu, Assistant Professor in English from Government VYT PG Autonomous College, Durg. I welcome you to this third session of my video lecture series, which I have prepared for BA, BSc, BCom Part 1 students. In my earlier videos, I had dealt with the lesson, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, that is chapter 6 from the prescribed text, and I had summarized the lesson, discussed some facts, and also discussed the question answers as well as the vocabulary section. And in today's lecture, I will be dealing with the grammar section. The grammar section here is of conditional sentences. So first of all, I will discuss what do you understand by conditional sentences. Students, before I start with conditional sentences, I would like you to explain what is a sentence. A sentence consists of a subject and a verb in its predicate part. And there are three types of sentences. The first one is a simple sentence. The second one is a compound sentence, and the third is a complex sentence. A simple sentence is a sentence which has one subject and one verb. Two independent sentences, when they are joined together with some coordinating conjunctions or coordinators, they form a compound sentence. And in a very similar way, when there are more than two or three sentences and they are joined together with the help of a clause or clauses, they form complex sentences. So we can say that a clause is a part of a sentence which has a subject and a verb, but it is not an independent sentence, and it is dependent on the main clause, that is called the principal clause also, and independent clause. So conditional sentences are also of such types which help in the formation of complex sentences. Students, before I begin with these conditional sentences, I would suggest you to keep your textbooks before you, so that it becomes easy for you to understand. I am going to read out some of the examples from the text. Now let us have a look at the following sentences. If the author's addition can be proved from this book, then he should be put on trial in an open court. Second one, if there had been a court case, you would definitely have been sentenced. Number 3, even if he had given 700,000 rupees, I wouldn't have done it. Now these sentences have two clauses each, an if clause and a main clause. The main clause expresses the action, event, state, etc. that would have occurred or will occur, etc. if the condition expressed in the if clause had been met or is met, etc. Sentence 3 is slightly different and says that the action indicated in the main clause would not have occurred even if the condition stated in the if clause had been met. Now, let us make it more easy. Basically, conditional sentences in English are of three types. The first type of sentences, which come under here A type, is the if clause that expresses an open condition. It may or may not be fulfilled. For example, if it rains, play will be cancelled. The second example is, if the talks break down, there will be a strike. Now in both these sentences, there is a condition in the first part, and in the second part is the result. And in this type of sentence, The basic form contains the simple present tense in the conditional clause and the modal will or shall in the main clause. Now, will or shall should never be used in the if clause except in the case which is cited below. In certain variations of this form, some other modal verb can be used. For example, if it rains, play may be cancelled. If it stops raining, we can go out. Or another present tense form could also be used. For example, if you heat metal, it expands. Or we can have another example also. If you heat water at 100 degrees centigrade, it boils. So these are some of the examples which are quoted here to make you understand that how the use of the if clause forms condition which is open. Now there are another formations in the conditional sentences which are related to tenses. The first already we have discussed is the simple present tense, and now we have here present continuous form, that if you are going out, post this letter for me. Or another example is, if you are looking for the newspaper, it is under the bed. Another example is from present perfect, if you have finished the letter, I'll post it. Or if you have eaten your lunch, we can go immediately. Similarly, we have the combinations in formation of conditional sentences with the help of should plus infinitive form. And the use of should in the if clauses, in fact, it reduces the probability of the condition being fulfilled. And its use, in fact, implies although or by any chance. Similarly, we have will plus infinitive formation. For example, if you will only listen to me carefully, all your doubts will be removed. And will here expresses if the subject is willing to, and not in any other case. Now we have another type of sentences which is called here B type, where the if clause is in the simple past tense form and the main clause uses would, should plus infinitive, and they are also called conditional sentences. If you went to Missouri, they are also called the conditional tense. If you went to Missouri in winter, you would find very few people on the roads. Another example is, if you listen to me, your doubts would be cleared. Now in these two sentences, the if clause represents a positive condition, but one which is unlikely to be fulfilled. So therefore the condition here is hypothetical. Similarly, there is another example in the if clause, when the verb is in the simple past tense form and it represents a condition which is contrary to the present fact. For example, if I knew where he lived, I would take you there, but I don't know. Another variations of this type are with the combination of would in if clause. If you would only grant me an opportunity to work for you, I would not disappoint you. Now here the if clause with would conveys the meaning if the subject were willing, agreeable, etc. Now the use of past perfect in if clause. The example is, if you had followed the advice of your father, you would be a rich man today. So this is a sentence which is a combination of type B and C. Now there are certain other formations with the help of some words, perhaps the modal verbs that like might or could in the main clause. If you left now, you might reach by 4 o'clock. Or if I knew, where he lived, I could take you there. So the main clauses here in these sentences, they express possibility and ability respectively. Now the next we have is C type of conditional sentences, where the verb is in the if clause has the form should or would plus perfect infinitive, and this form is called the conditional perfect tense form. The example is, if there had been a court case, you would definitely have been sentenced. The if clause in such sentence refers to past time and describes a condition which was not met. And the main clause here describes a result which would have occurred if the condition had been met. So therefore, the sentence is quite contrary to fact. Now the use of could or might in the main clause. If I had known he was your brother, I could have given the message to him, and this shows the ability. If he had known that I wouldn't accept the offer, he might have made it more attractive. Now here in this sentence, the use of might shows possibility. Now there are certain other types of sentences which begin with even if or if. The example is, even if he had given me several hundred rupees, I wouldn't have done it. Now a clause beginning with even if is not really conditional. It is called a concessive clause. Other words that introduce concessive clauses are although, even though, while and whereas. Similarly, we have if and unless, which also are introduced as clauses of condition. The difference is that if introduces a positive condition, whereas unless introduces a negative condition. This means that if followed by a negative equals unless followed by an affirmative verb. For example, they told him that he would be punished unless he apologized, or they told him that he would be punished if he did not apologize. Similarly, there are other formations of conditional sentences with the use of if and otherwise. Otherwise means if this doesn't or didn't, etc. happen. If the author's sedition can be proved from his book, then he should be put on trial in an open court. Otherwise, dismiss the case with warning. Now students, let us start with the exercises. Using conditional sentences of type A, say what happens or may happen when the following conditions are met or not met. For example, you are late to class. Answer, if I am late to class, I may be dismissed. Now following this example, we may start with the sentences. A, your shoelaces are not tied. If my shoelaces are not tied, I may fall down or I may trip. B, you don't sleep well at night. If I don't sleep well at night, I may not feel fresh. C, you eat a heavy lunch. If I eat a heavy lunch, I feel sleepy or I will feel sleepy. D, you miss your favorite TV program. If I miss my favorite TV program, I will be unhappy. E, water is heated to 100 degrees centigrade. If water is heated to 100 degrees centigrade, it boils. F, students are allowed to copy in the exams. If students are allowed to copy in the exams, the education system may fail. Boys and girls wear the same kind of dress. If boys and girls wear the same kind of dress, there will be no difference. jobs and degrees are de-linked. If jobs and degrees are de-linked, then the non-degree holders may thrive. Population growth is not controlled. If population growth is not controlled, there will be an explosion. Now, type exercise 2. Using conditional sentences of the B type, you say, what would you do if dash dash dash. Example is given. You woke up at night and found a burglar in the house. Answer. If I woke up at night and found a burglar in the house, I would turn over and pretend to be asleep. Now let us begin with the exercise. A. In the middle of an examination, you found that your pen had run out of ink. In the middle of an examination, you found out that your pen had run out of ink. Answer. If in the middle of an examination, I found that my pen had run out of ink, I would borrow from my friend. B. After eating a meal at a restaurant, you found that you had left your wallet at home. If after eating a meal at a restaurant, I found that I had left my wallet at home, I would use my credit card. C. You had to choose between your country and your closest friend. If I had to choose between my country and my closest friend, I would choose my country. E. You discovered that your closest friend was a smuggler. If I discovered that my closest friend was a smuggler, I would inform the police. F. You woke up at night to find a room full of smoke. If I woke up at night to find a room full of smoke, I would open the windows to let the air in. Now let us begin with exercise 3. Rewrite the following sentences using conditional sentences of type C. Example, I didn't see you, so I didn't stop. The example here given is, if I had seen you, I would have stopped. Now see A. You weren't careful, that is why the accident occurred. If you had been careful, the accident wouldn't have happened. B. They didn't play as a team, that is why they lost. Answer. If they had played as a team, they would have not lost. They wouldn't have lost. C. I didn't leave early enough, so I missed the train. If I had left early enough, I would not have missed the train. D. The dog didn't bite me because it was tied up. If the dog hadn't been tied up, it would have bitten me. Now let us begin with the exercise 4. Supply if, even if, unless or otherwise in the following sentences as appropriate. In some cases, more than one of these may occur. A. You will be dismissed, dash, you agree to do as you are told. You will be dismissed unless you agree to do as you are told. B. You must do as you are told, dash, you will be dismissed. You must do as you are told, otherwise you will be dismissed. C. I'll only do what I think is right, dash, you dismiss me for it. I'll only do what I think is right, even if you dismiss me for it. Next, don't watch the film on TV this evening, dash, you have a weak heart. Don't watch the film on TV this evening if you have a weak heart. Next, don't watch the film on TV this evening, dash, you have a strong heart. Answer, don't watch the film on TV this evening unless you have a strong heart. Next, dash, you have a strong heart. This evening's movie will come as a shock to you. Answer, even if you have a strong heart, this evening's movie will come as a shock to you. Next, watch this evening's movie, dash, you have a strong heart, dash, switch your TV off. Answer, watch this evening's movie if you have a strong heart, otherwise switch your TV off. Next, he will come, dash, you write to him. He will come if you write to him. Next, he won't come unless you write to him. Next, write to him, dash, he won't come. Write to him, otherwise he won't come. Dash, you don't like samosas, try one of these. Answer, if you don't like samosas, try one of these. Next, dash, you don't like samosas, try something else. If you don't like samosas, try something else. Next, I never eat samosas, dash, I am sure that they are homemade. Answer, I never eat samosas unless I am sure that they are homemade. And the last one is, I eat samosas only if they are homemade, never otherwise. Thank you.